Welcome back to the Photo Banter podcast. I'm your host, Alex Gagne, and on today's podcast, I speak with photographer Bellamy Hunt, who is also known online as Japan Camera Hunter. Bellamy runs his business, Japan Camera Hunter, where he sources high-quality film cameras and photographic equipment for photographers and camera collectors around the world. In this interview, I speak to Bellamy about growing up in the UK and how he first discovered photography. And I also speak to Bellamy about what drew him to Tokyo, Japan, where he has lived and worked for over 10 years now. Bellamy is someone who has an immense amount of knowledge and respect for both the craft and history of photography, which he showcases on both his popular Instagram page and YouTube channel. So I was really excited to get a chance to speak with him about his unique path in the photographic industry. So I hope you enjoy, and thanks so much for listening. We got Bellamy Hunt, aka Japan Camera Hunter. Welcome to the podcast, man.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man, really excited to talk to you. Like, definitely a real fan of everything you got going on over there. Really unique thing you've been working on for years. But before we kind of started rolling here, we're kind of talking about just the last 5 months with COVID and everything going on in the world. I guess, like, I'm interested to talk to you because you have a different perspective because you're in Japan. I guess,
Sure.
like, how's life been for you, just like living and just like in terms of business, I guess?
It's been rough. I mean, I think it's been rough for everybody, but we've had, at least people here, there's a certain amount of pragmatism and common sense. I mean, towards it, people wear masks, people social distance. You know, yeah, there are cases, but not a huge amount. But I think the first few months there was a lot of fear, so we basically stayed home for effectively 3 months. You know, kids were off school. My office is really close to where I live, and I can go there by walk or by bike, so I don't have to get on a crowded train or anything, which meant I could still go to the office, and I had to because I still had to work. And yeah. So it's not so much the Japanese business, because my business isn't, majority of my clients aren't Japanese.
Mm-hmm.
Majority of my clients are in the USA, which has had an effect on my business as I look at the news and I go, whoa, wow. And you know, there was the international travel thing really affected things because it makes it harder to ship stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then your postal service went a bit funky.
Yeah. Or at least that's what At least that's what Donald Trump tells us. So who fucking knows? Like, it's crazy.
I'm an outsider looking in, so I can't really say anything other than sort your post out. It was amazing, and now it sucks. And now we have to use DHL, which costs like 4 times the price, you know?
Wow.
So that's had a knock-on effect on the business.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people are less reluctant, less inclined to buy small things, you know, a t-shirt or some film cases or a roll of film, because they're like, why should I pay twice the value of the product for shipping? You know, and I can see their point. Why should they?
Yeah. And I mean, it's tough because if, like you say, like a lot of your customers are in the US, and now we got tens of millions of people out of work. They're just collecting unemployment. So they're not looking to buy like the new Leica or something like that.
Yeah. It makes, and it's going to be, I think it's going to be the same for every business. We have to diversify. We have to strategize, you know, all of these marketing keywords, and we have to do all of that sort of stuff and have synergy or whatever. We just have to work to survive and make sure that I can pay my staff, so because I have a responsibility to them, so I can make sure that I don't cut their salary so that they can continue to put money into the economy so we can keep things going. I mean, I'm not after making tons of money. I don't make tons of money. I'm after just making sure that the people around me can survive. You know?
I think most people that work in photography, be it you're shooting, if you own a film lab, if you're doing what you're doing, very few people are making a ton of money. It's just like the way I view it. If I can like this keep on the train and keep doing this, like if I can make great money, that's good. But if I can just like sustain myself and like eat and live, like that's the dream right there.
I mean, initially that was for me, you know, if I can sustain myself, and then it became if I can sustain my family. And now I feel like because I have employees,
Yep.
I feel like I want to make sure that they can sustain their families too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it becomes bigger, and
Yep.
I don't want it to get too big because I'm conscious that then I wouldn't be able to do that adequately.
Yeah.
You know, I feel that would be perhaps irresponsible. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I want to make sure that they're taken care of.
Yeah, because
In
like
these unstable times.
yeah, because like what you do, you're catering to like a real like niche group of people that are looking for certain things, and it's like I would imagine a lot of the reason people come to you is because one, you have the knowledge, you can find what they're looking for, and it's you can add a level of customer service that you're not going to get at like whatever certain camera store or online and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I would say to anybody as well, though, please do support your local bricks and mortar stores.
Yep.
You know, please do go and buy film from them and get processing done. If they've got cameras, buy them. You know, I provide a service which isn't for everybody, but it certainly provides a good service to the people who want it.
Yeah.
And I will try and fill the gaps that perhaps somewhere local can't do for them. But, you know, I will always say to somebody, hey, man, you can find this cheaper locally, save the money and buy some film.
Yeah.
Because I don't want people to spend too much money when they don't have to.
Yeah.
But at the same time, of course, I want people to buy from me.
yeah, definitely, man.
I'm not saying don't come and buy my stuff, you know, please do.
No, hit up Bellamy, man. He's going to find you that Bronica. He's going to find you that Makina.
No, I'm not going to find you a Bronica, though.
Okay, never mind.
Because there's certain things I can't find anymore because I don't necessarily trust them because they're getting too old or they're too hard to find. So there's just there's a few things, you know, a few cameras that I don't, or types of cameras that I don't source. Compacts being one. Sorry, I'll turn my mail. I don't source those, so those are gaps that the stores can fill, you know. But for the stuff that's perhaps rarer, a bit more esoteric, then I'm the guy to come and get it from.
Yeah, you kind of made an interesting point you touched on is like supporting your local camera shops. And I know like last week we talked briefly, and I know like myself, I think you kind of grew up skateboarding, right? And I don't know about where you're from, but like the skate shop is like such an essential thing within the skate community.
It was the absolute hub.
And the camera shop's the same way in a sense, because like I know that the local camera shops have been in Boston, like some of the big ones I used to go to are gone, but the ones that are still there, like Hunt's Photo is a chain, and it's an important thing. Like you start to like build relationships with the people that work there, and they can help you find stuff and explain stuff to you. Yeah. And it's like you're not getting that from Amazon. Sure, Amazon might sell you some shit for cheaper, but they're not going to go the extra mile for you. So it is like the camera shop.
Yeah, they're not going to take care of you if there's an issue. They're not going to. I mean, it's an impersonal service, but you get what you pay for. Yeah. And if you want cheap, that's what you get.
Yep.
But yeah, the personal service, that I think that's something I strive to. And I've had people say, "Oh, you should just get an assistant to do all of that stuff for you." And I'm like, no, because then that part of what I do is I communicate with the client.
Yep.
You know, I build that relationship.
Yeah.
I don't just pass it off to, Steve over there who
Steven Shipping
acts as a proxy for me. You know?
I feel like your volume went down or something. It was loud.
Yeah, yours went up. I didn't touch anything.
Weird. Yeah, no worries. I don't know what happened. It's all right. I can still hear you. It just went down for a second.
Okay.
No worries. What were you saying? Yeah, because like that's the interesting thing about your business, because like you have a large social media following, and you feel like people, they want to have that interaction with you because they've been following you on Instagram, they see your YouTube videos, so they want this personal relationship with you because like the people that are coming to you, they love film cameras and things like that.
Sure. Yeah. I think that's a big part of it. and there are people. Yeah, there's a lot of people who say, I found you online. I found, and it's kind of weird sometimes. I've been to events, I've done, talks and things, and people are coming up to you and shaking your hand and like, oh my God, it's you. And it's like,
Yeah,
dude, I'm just a normal guy.
Yeah, I think last week when we talked, I think you met Ray Barbie or something. He came up to you and was like, "Wow, man, I'm so pumped to meet you, dude." And anybody listening, Ray Barbie been on the podcast, legendary skateboarder. That must have been like a pretty cool experience.
So, dude, Ray Barbie was like a mentor in some ways. He was somebody I aspired to be when I was a kid.
Yeah,
I was skating, and I was watching him and people like him and Mike Bellamy and Rocco and all of these guys, right? And Gonzo and Ed Templeton. And, these were my heroes, and I was skating every day. I was mad into it. I was absolutely bonkers. And then, I find years later, I'm in Japan, I find find out he's a photographer on Instagram. And I'm like, cool. And then I get a message from him saying, hey, I'm in Tokyo, want to hang out?
Wow.
And I'm just like, what? Oh, what? And I was all fangirly, I'm like, ooh.
So what was Palo Peralta like?
Well, yeah, I mean, that was what it was for me. It was because, for me growing up as this kid in the middle of the countryside in the UK and skateboarding every day on a street, on a curb that I basically built myself. Nobody else to skate with. Maybe once a week I could go into town and skate with other people, maybe.
Where in England did you grow up?
Outside of Oxford in the countryside.
Okay.
And so, watching the videos, the Powell videos and the Santa Cruz videos and all of this sort of stuff, and seeing him do tricks in California, it was like, whoa.
Yeah, because like how do you even get into skateboarding way out there, like in the countryside of like outside of Oxford?
I mean, I'd seen it on TV and I wanted to do it, so I'd gone into town and I found a place that sold a skateboard and I bought one. And it turns out that they were a dealer for Deathbox, which was a skate company out of the UK.
Yeah.
And so they had all of their pro riders, and they would come to the local town because they knew some guys there, and there was a really sketchy ramp that somebody had knocked up, which was exposed nails and all sorts of shit, and it was just sepsis waiting to happen, But we would. I got into it from quite an early age, from about 12 years old, meeting these guys, So when Ray came to Tokyo and I found out he's a photographer, and I'm just, I was blown away to meet him, but he was like, no, it's so cool to meet you, because he's just such a nice guy, and we hung out for a bit and we talked cameras and photography and skateboarding and music, because he's a musician, he's a great musician.
Yeah.
And that was, I've met some very, very, very famous people doing this job, but for me, that was like, people like Ray were like, that's my Hollywood star,
Yeah, it is cool, man. Like starting this thing, because like when you started Japan Camera Hunter, like what was your goal, man? Like, and was it always from the get-go? Was it like a business from the beginning, or like what was kind of your goal with doing this?
So when I started it from my house, and I just quit a job working for a photography supply company, which I had all the contacts to do this job from. But I did it because I wanted to spend my time taking pictures and, not really doing much else, so this could pay for it. And I hadn't really figured out a plan. Yeah. I was just going and buying and selling cameras and then spending the rest of my time just taking pictures. For myself, which was great. But then I had to, realize that, wait, I can make some money doing this. I can actually make this a living wage. So I started to get a bit more serious about it and put more effort into it, less into photography, more into the camera sourcing, realized I needed a website. So, had all of that stuff done. And at that point, just shortly after that, my wife announced she was pregnant. And I was like, okay, I need to actually, apply myself now, get some elbow grease going.
Hell yeah.
Responsibilities are coming thick and fast. So yeah, I actually started to take it a whole lot more seriously, which unfortunately led to, less time for photography, but that's the way it goes. I mean, I still take pictures, not as much as I would want to, but I'm just happy to be able to work in something that I love, and not be told what to do, not beholden to somebody else.
Yeah,
because that's what I've always been.
Yeah.
So I have that freedom.
Yeah, it's like building your own thing. It's like, it's a blessing, and it can be tough sometimes. Like times where now it's tough, but like I love doing it myself. Like even with this podcast, I've been doing it 3 years now, and it's like this. I'm sure with yourself, I'm sure you're surprised like where your own stuff has gone and where it's kind of grown. And it's like,
yeah. I mean, it blows me away to see what it is, what it's become. I never thought it would be. It just sort of naturally evolved that way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I didn't have these grand plans. I'm not one of these 5-10 year planner kind of dudes. I know guys are, and they have these big ideas of what they want to achieve this year.
Vision board. You mean you don't got a vision board, Bellamy?
I don't even know what a vision board is. I'm much more of a sort of take it as it comes, and just enjoy myself doing things, making things or selling things or doing things that I would want to have. So
how do you kind of first like get into photography? Like when you first picked up a camera, like what kind of stuff were you photographing? Like,
I mean, I've said it before. I was a kid, man. I was like 13 years old, and I stole my dad's Minolta, which I still have. I made a video about recently. And I just went and took photos of everything. My friends skating, going fishing, because I lived by a river, so we'd go fishing a lot. I did a lot of experiments with stacking filters and lunar photography and infrared photography and all sorts of stuff, just tons and tons of stuff, because it was cheap. It was easy to do. Developing was cheap. It's fast. It was, it was back in the early 90s.
Did you ever shoot, I don't know if you saw it, Slap Magazine back in like early 2000s. They did a whole article about it was infrared slide film. Kodak made it. I ended up buying some. It was a color infrared film, slide film though. I forget what the name of it was, but it was really cool. Did you ever mess with that film at all?
You mean not Aerochrome? Aerochrome was the stuff that changed the colorway, so it was a sort of purple tinge for everything that was. No, I don't know. I don't know exactly.
I'll look it up. I'll send it to you. But yeah, like Joe Brook, I think Frank who shot. I'll send you the article. I still got the mag on Slap. But yeah, I ended up buying roll. It was like even back early 2000s for one roll of this. It was 35 millimeter color, and it was like $40 a roll, dude. Back then, yeah, it was like I don't even know what they used it for really, but
Slap would have been some aerial thing or some military application or planning application or something like that.
Definitely. Yeah, it was interesting to see them skating.
I got to messing around with all of that, really huge grain stuff, like long exposures, and I had a blast. I really just found myself loving, but I found myself loving the photography and the process, but I also was really enamored with the way the gear worked. And the way it was put together and the way it fitted together and the way that it needed to be kept clean in such a way. That was really appealing to me. I think, I have a fascination with, micro engineering, things like that. So that, I mean, I'm not going to say that I understand it. I don't. I'm not a micro engineer, but I like the way small pieces of mechanical engineering work together.
Yeah.
I find that really appealing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because like, yeah, there is some. I broke out my Hasselblad. You kind of inspired me. Setting up for this interview, I ended up buying 10 rolls of film. I hadn't busted out my Hasselblad in like 4 years, and I was like, started looking at like you've been doing the cool thing with YouTube where you do. What's the one where you it's like presenting and you'll show
Oh,
like
camera geekery videos, yeah.
yeah, I think it's like a new thing you've been doing the last few months, and it's been great. But yeah, like you said, like those. I mean, I got the new Canon SLR digital or stuff, and it's great camera. I love it, but it doesn't have that like the old feel of the Hasselblad, taking off the back and like putting the viewfinder on. It's just it's not the same thing.
This thing was really it fulfills a sort of teenage fantasy, perhaps, of putting everything together, getting ready for the fight scene or whatever. Cameras,
Yeah,
you know, tooling up and all of that. But that was really appealing to me. But and that led me to go on and study photography more.
Okay, so you ended up going to like college for
I took photography at college, and then bizarrely, I should have taken photography at university, and I decided not to because of my interest in small, beautifully made things. I decided to go and do jewelry and silversmithing. So I'm a trained silversmith.
Wow. Yeah, for people, what does a silversmith do? Like, what kind of job would people do nowadays with that? What kind of stuff?
Well, if you have come fresh out of college, you'll go and work for somebody. So you will go and be a jobbing jeweler, which means you just basically make chain links all day or something like that. Repetitive, very repetitive work. If you are good enough, and if you are established with customers, or you have a reputation, you can be your own jeweler.
Yeah.
Or if you have a good enough, a special technique, an appealing design, something, you can become your own jeweler and make jewelry to order. I mean, if you're really good enough, or if you went to the right university and your father's a pop star, you can go and design for Asprey or something, Yeah. But the rest of us mere mortals have to work our way to the top.
What because you're going through that program, like when did you realize you didn't want to do that? Like, was it like
when I started working as a jobbing jeweler?
Yeah.
And I was making cufflinks, and I was basically soldering the link to the base plate for like hundreds a day, and I was bored out of my mind. Yeah. And I said I wanted to change, and the boss got really huffy with me and sent me off to upstairs. He said, punishment, I had to go to the polishing room, and I had to polish jewelry all sodding day, which was even worse. Yeah, I mean, you get just covered in the stuff, and if you're not careful, you can take your fingers off. And I looked down, and my hands were just burns and cuts, and I was making under minimum wage at the time, right? And I was like, nah, I'm not doing this. This is ridiculous. I can't do, because they, as far as the jewelry trade was concerned, they were like, oh, you went to university? That's absolutely useless. We don't care.
Yeah.
So I decided not to do that. And I decided back then to start focusing on the photography again.
Yeah.
And I was taking pictures of people's jewelry for them, and I was taking pictures of people's bands for them, and as just part-time gigs, but it was never enough to get paid a full-time wage.
Yeah.
So I waited tables. I did whatever it took,
Did you want to like shoot full-time and like do commercial work like a lot of people did, or?
No, I didn't have the work ethic at the time. No, yeah. I'll be legit. I didn't have the drive. There wasn't social media. There wasn't anything like that. So there was no societal pressure to be that. I knew people in the industry, and I'd had my portfolio assessed, and they said, hey, you want to come to the studio and be an assistant, because that's how you got to be a photographer in those days. You went and you were an assistant to a well-known established photographer, and after doing that for 5 years, you got your own chance.
Yeah.
And I was offered a couple of spots in London, and just as I was about to take up one of the spots, decided to up sticks and just go traveling.
All right.
Oh no, I should do this now before I can never do it.
Yeah.
And I said, oh yeah, I'll be back in a year. Never went back.
Where'd you end up traveling to?
Here, Japan. I ended up here. I never left.
What made you, like, you never been here before prior to that? What kind of?
No. I was traveling around Asia and working in Australia, New Zealand, and working. And then somebody said, come to Japan. It's, you can teach English. It's pretty easy money. Then you can save enough to go on to the next stage. And I was like, yeah, I can make because at that point I was broke, just broke, nothing. And I was like, yeah, I could do with earning a few grand and then go back to the UK and, instead of just turning up with nothing, like, hi parents. And yeah, so I came here with the intention of staying a year, and it's been 15.
What about, like, what do you remember about your first trip out there, and like what do you think's kind of kept you there? Like, what do you like about like this?
There is no first trip out there. I mean, the first trip I came, I stayed.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been and gone since, but I've never not stayed here.
Got it.
So to me, it was just completely different to everything, because I'd lived in all sorts of countries, but they were all very westernized. And this was the first big Asian city that I had lived in that was like really, first world country, first world city, a megapolis or a metropolis. It was huge, and it was efficient, and it was expensive and clean. And at the time, it was very exciting because it was new.
Yeah.
And there was all those Japanese cliches, it was like, oh my goodness, is Godzilla going to come? But more than that, I mean, it was just, I found an appealing similarity because it was very clearly Asian. It was very clearly not Western, particularly in the way the culture was. But there were a lot of similarities to British sort of mannerisms, culture, manners, history, similarities. It's the island thinking, Shimaguni.
Yeah.
And that, to me, I was like, yeah, it's easy for me to be here. Easier, perhaps. I don't know.
And what was like the photography scene like when you first got there? Because like looking at some of your YouTube videos you've done with some other YouTubers and different things, and I love these videos. I'll try to link them when I post this. You like go on these tours to these camera shops where they like, it's like going to a grocery store and they got like film, and it's like these huge fridges, and it's just like
a lot of those places are closed now.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Yeah.
But when you first got there, like, what was the kind of the
cameras? Oh, it was insane. It was absolutely mental. But at the time, when I first arrived, I had a camera. I didn't have any money. So I wasn't really interested in going and buying cameras. It was really very much on the periphery.
Yep.
I knew I could get film, so I'd just buy film. But I wasn't infected with the geekiness at that point. I was just going out, taking pictures, working, making as much money as I could, and just enjoying Japan. And then after a couple of years here, then I started going, hey, well, what's this? Oh my goodness, things are cheap here. Oh my goodness, there's tons of it,
Yeah.
So,
and I think I read somewhere you ended up working for like a Japanese camera company or something. What did they make? And like, first off, like,
so they didn't make anything. Well, not anymore. They didn't. They were a distributor for a lot of Western brands. A lot of very famous Western brands, Domke amongst others, right?
Great brands.
And so they were a distributor, but they initially started as a camera store. And so they had a camera store that sold, the best. They called themselves the best of the world's cameras, and they really did have amazing stuff. Yep. And then as the company got older, they had to diversify. So they set up a thing called the Studio Shop, where they are a professional studio supply store. So they'll sell you everything from bags of sand to weigh down your lighting systems, to backdrops, to smoke machines, to glitter spray, to a full camera system and lens system, a full Hasselblad or a Phase 1, or
Wow.
yeah, everything. You need an ASO monitor. Yeah, you need the Steadicam systems. They sell those, and so they had that store. So I initially started working in that store as a part-timer for like $10 an hour, sweeping the floor and cleaning the trash out, doing whatever.
Was that like a hard thing to get your foot in the door, being like, you're from England, you're in
Yeah,
Japan, like,
yeah. So I had to swallow a lot of humble pie, which is why I was sweeping floors. I did an apprenticeship, I had to prove myself to them, and which was hard because I was like in my early 30s, I'm like, and I'm very Western, very British. I'm like, why do I have to do this? But no, you have to do this. This is what you do. And so I, knuckled down and got on with it. And I learned Japanese on the job because my Japanese is terrible.
Damn.
And it was hard. It was very, very, very hard. But after a while, I proved myself, and I got moved into a different section there where I could help liaise between the Western companies and the Japanese companies.
Yeah.
And help them with marketing and new products and sales, and look after people who came here to visit, all sorts of things. So yeah, it was a really good company to work for.
You feel like working there, like you kind of learn anything that you've been able to apply to like running your own business?
So much. It was invaluable. I learned a work ethic. You reply to everybody, even if you can't help them, you still reply.
Yeah.
You make sure you do things properly and you do them efficiently and quickly. If you can't do something, you make sure you tell that person that you can't do it instead of just fobbing them off or something. They were very, very strict in the office that I worked in, and I had to abide by certain rules, adhere to certain rules. And because of that, that helped me apply that to when I started my business.
Yeah.
And I think the quick response thing was a big one, because my boss, when I worked for that company, was like, he would check my mail. He would go into my computer and he'd check my mail. And if there was an unresponded mail at any time, he would be like, why haven't you replied to this? It's 11 p.m. at night. Why haven't you replied to this?
Yeah, that's what you read. Like they say the Japanese work ethic is like harder than like pretty much anywhere.
Yeah. I mean, he was being extra tough on me because he wanted to drum it into me.
Yeah.
He wanted me to learn. He didn't understand the boundaries of a social life, but he said, this first, this training stage, you don't have a life.
Yeah.
And it was like, yeah, fair enough.
And especially, I mean, the same thing with me, like running your own business, the clock's never off. It's like you're working Saturday, you're working Sunday.
Sure.
Because like.
So that really helped when I started the business, because you can't be off when you're running your own business. So I was able to, do it, be online, be ready to answer whenever possible. I mean, now I've been doing this for 10 years. I take weekends off. Yeah. You mail me on a weekend, I'm sorry, man.
We'll give you the weekends, Bellamy.
But other than that, you try and be on it.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I look at like some people show their phones like, hey man, look, check it out, 9,999 unread messages, and it just creeps me the hell out. Like, oh my God, no.
It's like that's opportunity. That's opportunity waiting right there.
Yeah, right.
What were kind of like some of the first cameras once you kind of started taking like Japan Camera Hunter seriously? What were kind of some of the first cameras you were selling? Did you kind of have like a niche you were trying to stick within?
No, it was opportunity, whatever was available, whatever I knew was popular. But I had an arrangement with a company in Europe where I would supply them with Nikon lenses, because they needed them for making movies and stuff. And so initially my specialism was rare Nikon lenses, or just certain particular Nikon lenses, which I'd go and find, 50 copies of.
Yeah.
And that helped me to build the business with a stable base, so that then I could start looking for other stuff for people. And initially, I would go out and just buy whatever I could find that I thought would sell, and sell it on. But then I was like, this is too risky. It's kind of hit and miss. And, I've got some stuff here which is sitting on the shelf for like a year. I can't afford that because I had very little money.
Yeah.
So I realized as I'm operating with barely any capital, it would be much more sensible to have people ask me to get stuff for them.
Mm-hmm.
And because I knew the cameras, I knew the town, I knew the camera sellers, I could immediately say what was available or not, and if somebody said, hey man, can you get me a Ricoh GR1? Yeah, sure. Easy peasy.
And like, how are you finding like your clients early on? Like, has it always been like social media from the jump, or your website, or like how did it?
So my website was initially how people found me, and Flickr, bizarrely.
Oh yeah,
Flickr. Big one. And then it started to become social media with, initially Twitter and then Instagram. A lot of customers would find me through those, but initially it was word of mouth.
Mm-hmm.
I did not have a lot of customers, and the first couple of years it was hard. It was hard work. It wasn't until I, sort of became a bit more established that it became easier.
And then I'm sure you start to get like repeat customers the longer you do it.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I've still got customers which I had from 10 years ago,
Yeah.
who still come back, which is cool. We've built a relationship, and it's nice to see them back. And I'll always, I make sure that I can do as much as I can for them. But yeah, it's been nice to see that sort of support.
Yeah, definitely, man. And like, what's like the culture with like film cameras and film photography in Japan? Like, is it popular there? Because that's one thing I was interested. Obviously, a lot of your business is in the U.S., but I'm sure you sell to other countries.
Sure.
Can you get a read on like where it's more popular than other in certain countries? Or?
Yeah, absolutely. At the moment, Japan has had a strong and steady support for film. There's been a bit of a boom recently with young ladies using disposable cameras. That's been really kind of a buzz thing. But there's still quite a strong film photography presence. You can still buy it in a lot of places. There's a lot of small independent galleries that are showing. There's rental darkrooms.
Really?
And and there's new camera stores opening, which is weird because there's also very famous established camera stores closing. Nikon House being a big one, like last week or the week before, and that's been there for 40 years.
Yeah.
And now you've got new stores opening. It has changed, but because of the way I've seen where things are trending, Thailand, Bangkok has got a really hard trending film photography scene right now. There's loads of labs opening, camera shops. Jakarta as well. Seeing like Hong Kong has always had a strong following, always, but the new ones are definitely Bangkok and Jakarta.
What do you think that is? Because like it's been interesting to see. Because like I mean I grew up shooting film for like 15 years. I haven't shot a lot in the last 5, but it's interesting to see the cameras. Like I have a Hasselblad 501 CM. I bought it brand new my senior year in high school, which was like 2003. And it almost sells for the same price that I bought it for like 20 years ago, man. It's crazy.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's how it's getting now. You're definitely seeing an increase in disposable income in Thailand and Indonesia, particularly amongst the middle class, right? And so they are finding outlets to spend their money on them, and a popular one is film photography. It's a luxury, perhaps a little bit, but it has become, as you've seen the increase in disposable income there, you're seeing an increase in film shooting.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know the exact reason why, but
yeah,
I would assume it's certainly that.
I know, like looking at Instagram, a lot of like celebrities and stuff. I'm sure you've seen this. Like they all start shooting with like the the T2s and T3s, and you'll see it on their Instagram. They'll be like shot on film, and it's kind of interesting to see. I guess I was interested to get your take on that. Like, do you think it's a good thing for film community to like see these like celebrities and influencers, quote unquote?
It's good, really, because I mean, and I'm partially guilty because I've sold some of those cameras to them. But it's good because it raises the profile of film photography, and that's a good thing. That can only be a great thing. It's bad because it also raises the profile of the particular camera that they're holding, and all of a sudden everybody wants one, and the prices go completely bonkers.
Yeah.
Case in point, T2 and T3, which are now selling for like $2,000.
Yeah, that's fucking crazy, dude. I was looking at eBay. I was like, anybody buying it? I mean, it's a great camera, but if you're buying it for $2,000, you're out of your fucking mind, dude.
But people will buy them from that. You know, this is the thing. There are people out there that will buy them. I don't source them anymore. I only sell them if I get them on consignment, just because you get too many people asking for them.
Yeah.
And sadly, a lot of people who are asking for them don't really realize how old these cameras are. You know, so they're thinking they're going to get something that's going to last them 10 years, and it's not. It's just not. Yeah. You know, I'd rather not have the hassle. But no, I think that it's great that there are, celebrities out there who are showing that they are doing something like this, a different medium for presenting their creativity.
Yeah.
And it only helps raise the profile of film photography. So
yeah, and just keep Kodak and Fuji and these companies producing film, man. Because like some of my favorite films are gone. I used to love I shoot skating a lot. I shoot Kodak E100 VS. It was like a super saturated like slide film, and like I love that film, but it's no longer.
Yeah, I liked the VC films as well. I was a big fan of those. I miss slide film, man.
I love slide film, man. Anybody, first time I ever saw my first 4x5 slide, man, that was an experience. It's just like there's nothing like it. And when the exposure is like tack sharp and the colors are perfect, there's nothing like it.
Yeah, you're holding, this little piece of time in your hands. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, there is slide film available, but compared to what it was, it kind of bums you out a little bit. But yeah, I miss a lot of emulsions.
Yeah, man. And I saw some video somewhere online of you. It was a couple of years ago, and you were talking about like, I don't know if you were working with some engineers or something, but actually about like designing a new compact camera. Is that something that you're still working on, or what's your thoughts with that?
Yeah, so we worked on it, and I put quite a bit of my own money into it. And it's a viable idea, but it has to be done properly.
Yeah.
To do it properly would take a very large amount of investment, and I don't think people really get quite how large it would be.
Yeah.
It would be an enormous amount of money. You would literally have to build a new facility for it, right? And train all of the people, but then also make sure you have a 10-year aftercare staff. Warranties.
Yeah, it's a lot.
All of this sort of thing. And it can be done, and it could also be done profitably. But we had difficulty at the time attracting investors. And then when COVID came along, we were like, we're going to have to put this away for a while.
Have you like being that you're such a I don't know, say not spokesperson, but like you're out there, you're talking about film photography and cameras. That's what you do. Like, have you had conversations with any of these like bigger camera manufacturers? Is that something you've had at all? Like, you think there's any way that like they'd start like producing film cameras again?
It's difficult. I'm not allowed to say some things.
Okay.
So I've spoken with some, and whilst interest was expressed and excitement was expressed on a management level.
Mm-hmm.
On a shareholder level, the enthusiasm was less there because they want the profit right now. We don't want a 10-year plan which might make us some money. You show us the money now.
Yeah.
You know, and so as always, the shareholders are most vocal, and they're not going to let them do something which they see could, because they don't have the information that it could just not be a successful venture as far as they're concerned. You know, why are we digging into this dinosaur technology?
Yeah, it's like
because it makes lots of money, but okay, you know. So that has been interesting.
I was trying to think. Does Leica, are they manufacturing any film cameras still? They are. Yeah. Okay. I was trying to think what camera. I know Hasselblad. They stopped making the V series like 5 years ago or something like that.
Yeah. The MA is still made by Leica, and the MP officially is still made.
Yep.
Nikon still made the F6. Canon, I can't remember if Canon make one. I don't think they do. EOS or something. I'm not sure. But it's quite limited.
Yeah.
The technology, the manufacturing capabilities are still there.
Yeah.
Not just in Japan as well. They're still available in Europe. But nobody is really prepared to put the money into it.
Yeah, to produce.
And I can see why right now, you know.
Yeah, definitely right now. Yeah, it's tough. Like you're trying to produce something at scale. It's a tough thing, like because you got.
And it is at scale. Yeah, it's not. This isn't a Kickstarter.
Yeah.
You know, people are like, why don't you just Kickstarter it? Because you will get maybe 10% of the money you actually need to do this.
Yeah.
You know, it has to be on a scale that you can sell 20,000, 40,000, 50,000 units.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a lot.
Yeah, no doubt. And what are kind of like some of the popular cameras people are asking for you now? Like what are you kind of selling most, or what are kind of most of your inquiries these days?
I mean, nowadays it's always the Leica stuff. And Hasselblad. Lots and lots of Hasselblad, Machina, Nikon F3s, Nikon X, Nikon. People want the really nice ones.
Yeah.
You know, get themselves something really, really special. There's a bit of a thing for rangefinders, Nikon rangefinders at the moment. They're sort of, particularly the black paint stuff, that's becoming a really sort of boom area for high-end collectors, I think, because you're looking at $50,000 for a classic Leica M3 black paint something now, you know,
50 grand, 50 grand.
More, and it's become out of reach for most people.
Yeah.
So obviously they've transferred their interest to things that they can actually still buy.
So like a lot. So like you said, collectors. So some of your clientele, they're just like, they're not actually shooting with these cameras. It's just kind of a collectible.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Majority of my clients are shooters.
Got it.
But there are some people who buy, and we're talking very, very, very expensive cameras, and they are part of their collection. You know, they consider themselves to be historical collectors and timekeeping for these important pieces.
And is there like a different like approach to searching for cameras for a collector versus shooter? Is the collector looking for something that's like in mint condition, or is it the difference?
No, it doesn't have to be in mint condition. I mean, it's more. They're more interested in either the provenance or the particular model, the rarity of that particular item. You know, so it doesn't matter what condition it's in. There's only 3 of them.
Yeah.
You know? I don't care if it looks like it's been through a hedge backwards. Doesn't matter. Just I need it. You know.
Yeah.
And there's something really cool about reuniting pieces. You know, when you see something has gone to a collection where it's reunited with things that it came out of the factory with.
Yeah.
Like 50, 60 years ago. That's cool. That's a really good feeling.
because what kind of stuff gets you excited? Like, what kind of gets you excited? Is there certain stuff you like looking for, searching for? What's kind of got you like excited right now, I guess?
It's not much that's getting me excited right
Yeah,
now.
right now.
There's nothing to
I'm trying to
find.
pump you up over here, Bellamy.
And, it's not going to work, man. Hey, look, I'm British. We don't do pumped up.
Doom and gloom.
Yeah, we do stiff upper lip. Um, yeah, I mean, at the moment, there's not a lot of stuff. I've got a couple of things that have come in which are really kind of very cool. An old Fujinon 50mm 1.2 lens, that's rare. I've got an M2 black paint coming today, which is very cool. And that, yeah, there's some nice things. In the past, it's been finding that, rare Nikon lens. They only made 300, and each one was blessed by a monk before it left the factory. And I found that. I found a lot of the Grail items,
Yeah.
And it was kind of funny because several of the famous Grail items that have been online, which have been sold by auctions, where they've taken all of the credit for it. No, man, that was me. I found them.
Yeah.
But as soon as they get them, they just go, "Yeah, we did all of this."
Yeah, of course. Yeah, for sure.
Sure, you did.
And I've really been enjoying the new series, the camera geekery thing you've been doing. It seems like you guys have been getting more active on YouTube as of late. Like you did one on your personal camera, which I believe is what, the MP6.
Yeah.
Maybe you could talk a little bit about that camera. Like what made it so special for you? Because I believe, what was it? They only made like 300 of them or something, right?
Yeah, that's my MP6. I put it away. I was going to grab it. Yeah, they only made, well, they don't know exactly the number that was made. It was never officially released. It was meant to be 300.
Yeah.
Or possibly 400 pieces. I can't exactly remember, but they never released how many were actually made. They were made in two separate batches, so there's very subtle differences between the two versions.
Mm-hmm.
Mine is a first version, and then there's the later version, which had the MP ISO dial on the back. Yeah, I mean, I bought it for myself when I'd started the business. Like when I made a first really successful sort of few months.
Yeah.
I'm going to buy myself the camera I've wanted, and I remember looking at it and thinking, I'm going to buy this. No, I shouldn't waste my money. And I asked my wife, and she was like, don't be silly, buy it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good, man. That's a good wife, man. She got your back.
Yeah, she had my back. And then I just kept it and I used it. I bought it. It was effectively new. Box, everything. But I started using it and everybody was like, why are you using that, man? Like, no, it's a collector's item. I'm like, it's my camera. This is my camera. I don't care.
That's what it's meant for. The cameras are meant to use,
Yeah. So now it's worth quite a lot of money. And way more than I paid for it. Yeah. Way more than I paid for it. But don't care. It's not for sale. It's mine.
Yeah. And how's kind of been your response to the camera geekery thing? Because the thing I truly enjoy about it more than anything is this, like, your knowledge of like the history of the cameras is like impressive. Like you were like talking about Bronica and like the owners and all this stuff. Like, I guess, like, what's been your approach to that kind of video series you've been doing?
I just wanted to share with people the way I think about and look at cameras, I guess. And the response has been really good. I mean, the channel's grown hugely in just the space of a few months.
Yeah.
It's kind of blown me away because this is the second foray into video. The first one was an abject failure.
Why is that, you think?
A few years ago, I just wasn't really comfortable doing it, and I wasn't presenting in a format that I was comfortable with.
Yeah. So, I was the same way with this, man. I just started doing the video ones like in the last like 5 months or something, because I felt the same way. But then over a while, just like, whatever, man, fuck it. I'm just gonna talk about whatever I want. And like,
well, this is it. You find your footing. And so when the pandemic struck, we were like, we've got nothing to do. What are we going to do? You know? And I still had this YouTube channel which had no videos on it, and still was gaining. And I got a thing saying you've got a new follower, and I'm like, why? Why are you following this account? There's nothing on here. You know? And then I thought, well, yeah, maybe there should be. Why not? And I decided to approach the videos in a different way. And so it wasn't about me. It was about the video. It was about the camera. And I could just tell people the way I saw these things and thought about these things, and the way those memories and those anecdotes were triggered for me.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we do have to write it down because you can't just ad lib it. It would be a mess. I do stutter quite a bit, or stammer perhaps. I say a lot as well.
All right, everybody's got that habit.
So yeah, I had to sort of train myself, and I've become more confident and comfortable doing them as I've been doing them.
I think it's just like, it's like fun, man, because like photography is weird. Like when you start off, you do it because you enjoy it and it's fun. And then once you try to make it your living, it sometimes can it can lose the fun in a sense sometimes. But for me, like just looking at the videos you've been making, it just kind of brings me back to my early days of photography. Like the first time you see a Hasselblad, or the first time, remember the first time I held like a rangefinder, and it was just like such a fun experience. And
yeah.
And it's just like opened my eyes. Like I never knew what the Makina Plausible, I never even heard of that camera before you posted it.
So yeah, I wanted people to get that sense of perhaps wonder and joy that I got when I found out about these things for the first time. I remember, when I first started this business, one guy said to me, he owned a camera store, and he said, trust me, in 10 years, you'll be sick of cameras. You won't want to touch one. And I was like, it's never going to be me, mate. Never. You may hate your job. I love mine. It's been 10 years. Still love it.
Yeah.
Still love my job. And I still get excited when I get something new or different or weird come in. If I see something cool, I still get that. And I wanted to convey that in the videos to people, that I have this perhaps, pretty intense sort of reaction to gear that perhaps other people don't have.
And this the history, like I said, the history, those interesting little stories. Like I mean, in one of the videos on YouTube, you knew that I think it was the Contax T2 or something, that in Japan they made the battery of they made it the size of the coin or something like that. The battery
cover is made, and this is for all of the openings on all of the cameras. The battery cover is designed to fit the 5 yen coin, because everybody's got one in their pocket.
Yeah.
So you'll always be able to get it undone. You didn't have to fiddle around with anything. You didn't have to try and get a fingernail in and break it. Everybody's got a 5 yen coin in their pocket. There you go.
No, I love that shit, man. Just like the history and those little details. It's just really, it's amazing. And for people like why should they come to you? What do you bring to the table for if someone's searching for a camera versus going on eBay or one of these Facebook Marketplace? What is it that you do better than all these other options, I guess you think?
I mean, so my system, what I offer is a bit different from what eBay and places like that offer. You sort of take your chances. I think it can be a bit of a crapshoot with those places. I offer sort of more personal care. I'm going to make sure you get the right item. I'm going to make sure that you're happy with your purchase. If there is an issue, I'm going to make sure it's taken care of, because I want to see you come back and buy something else.
Yeah.
So I'm going to offer you accurate descriptions, because cameras can't be mint plus. That doesn't exist. Mint plus doesn't exist. Mint plus doesn't. None of those exist, right? It's not a thing.
Yeah.
So I try and offer, honest descriptions with items that I have checked. In many cases will come with warranty. In many cases have been CLA'd or overhauled or checked by the manufacturer. We make sure that we you have a good experience, and you do pay for it. It's perhaps more expensive in some cases, but you know, at the end of the day, I want to see you happy with that item, and then go, yeah, you know what, I'm going to buy my next one from him too.
Yeah, because they can trust you. You're not trying to make a quick buck. You want to sell people something that's actually going to work and like is
Sure. I
up
mean,
to par.
and it's something, I take care of my customers. If it doesn't work, we make sure we get it back and get it working for you, or change something. We'll always deal with that. That's pretty important. Yeah, the customer care, I guess.
Yeah, for sure, man. And I saw you're actually making your own film now, the JCH. I think it's in partnership with another company or something like that. But like, how?
No. It's so I have it manufactured for me, but it's all my own design, my own package. It's all, I have it made for me.
Interesting. Yeah, what's the
I don't have a factory.
Yeah.
I wish I did, but I don't have a factory. So it's manufactured and packaged for me, and then I can sell it, market it. Yeah, it's been really popular as well. It's been out for like 4 years now, I think.
What's like the process of like manufacturing your own film? Do you kind of like give them an idea of like what films you like and like just test it out, or like yeah.
First of all, you have to have the contacts. You have to be able to go and speak to these places, and then following that, it's a case of finding out what you want, what can still be made, what you can still do, having the money to do it, having the patience to do it, and then coming to the understanding that you're never going to make any money from it.
No, one day, Bellamy, man, you're gonna make money, dude. The YouTube, dude, you're gonna be YouTube famous, bro.
I tell myself that every single time. I'm like, next time but you do it because you love to do it.
Exactly, man.
And it's been popular. I mean, it's never lost money, but it's never made money, really. Because it's a case of scaling. I don't have the funds, because I've done this with my own pocket, so I don't have the funds to make a batch of 1 million rolls.
Yeah.
And if I did, I could sell a film for super cheap, and we could sell a lot, but I just don't have that kind of, so we have to do it on a smaller scale. And but I still felt it was important to do, and I wanted to do it anyway. So and it's cool because I get to see the results of people's photographs from all over the world, which is mad.
Yeah, and you just put out a new video, I think, with your friend. I think his name is Ulysses. Yeah, it's a cool video. People should go check it out. It was just kind of him talking about his experience, kind of shooting with the film and stuff. It was kind of interesting to see his perspective.
Yeah. So we started we've got the Camera Geekery series, right? And we decided to do a new series, which is going to be a monthly thing. And Ulysses is going to be the presenter. And we thought for the inaugural one, it would be kind of appropriate to do street pan, but for following up videos, we're going to sort of hit as many different, he's going to get through as many different films as we can, and try and review stuff that's relevant instead of the same old. I don't think the world needs another portrait video.
No.
Because everybody knows those sick tones, bro.
Sick tones. Yo, man, I just got presets, man.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna sort of build up on that. It looks like fun.
Yeah.
It got a good reaction. People liked it. So
yeah. And the other series you do, In Your Bag, is a really cool series where people just kind of photograph their camera bag. Is that just kind of like user submitted, or like how does?
Yeah. So when I first started the site, I very quickly realized that I didn't have enough content.
Yeah, man, you need a lot.
and I was like, oh, this sucks, man. I'm running out of things to do. So I took a photo of my bag, my gear that I had at the time, and put it up, and people went, that's cool. So I said, well, what, why don't you send me yours?
Yeah.
And they did. They started sending them, and now we're on, what number is it? 1,600 and
Yeah, it's a
something.
lot. Is anything is anything surprised you? Like some of the people sent over?
Yeah, man. I mean, I've seen some hilarious ones. In guys carrying like $20,000 in a shopping bag. I've seen some really weird, creepy ones,
Yeah.
which we just were like, no, you
Can't
can't
post that, man.
post that, man. Couple of no, there's been some really cool ones. We've had some famous people. We've had people who are really high tech, serious, like professional architectural photographers, deep sea divers, all sorts of things, so a whole range of kit, and then just regular folks. Lately, we had some ultra right wing guys submit them, and I'm like, fuck no, man.
But how could you even tell? Like they were they in the email, here's my bag and I love Trump or something?
They literally had the fascist logos and the stickers and the badges on there.
Fucked
and I'm
up.
like,
nah, dog.
That ain't cool, dog.
Yeah, send that somewhere else, man.
Yeah, just no, but for we had to be selective after a while, because people were just like chucking a whole bunch of stuff on the floor and they're taking a photo and going, hey man, here you go. So,
Yeah.
No, you need to write words. You need to put some effort into this, because if you look at some of the bags people have featured, they've really put time and effort into them.
Yeah.
And so, we're a bit more selective now. We do want more bags. If you want to get your bag featured, and it doesn't have to be film. It can be digital. It can be a mixture. It can be anything. It can be 8mm, cine, whatever. But we do want more, and we want to see cool, interesting, funny bags.
Yeah, you want to see people that are like really about it. Like really, you can tell people are about photography. It's not some like thing. It's
for sure. And I mean, some of the ones we featured lately have been really great in that respect. You can see people are really passionate about it.
Mm-hmm.
And we want to share that. So hey, if you've got a bag, you want to submit it in your bag, get it on.
I'm working on Bellamy, man. I'm gonna come correct, man. I'm cleaning off my Hassie, man. You're gonna get an email in a couple of weeks, man. I'm bringing it.
Oh yeah, you're gonna have to beat Ming Thane. He did a pretty good one.
All right,
I've
got a lot of cameras, but I got some cool ones, man. I'm gonna break them out.
Do it.
I guess
make sure there's a bag in the picture, because there's so many people, right, who go, oh, this is in your bag. So here's my entire camera collection, no bag. It's like, mate, you don't carry that.
Yeah.
Don't be silly. Come on.
Although I will say, like, this is probably really bad. Like, honestly, half the time when I'm shooting, I just did it this weekend. I got this. I'll show you. I got this shitty fucking book bag, and I wrap my Hasselblad in a sweatshirt and I put it in there, dude.
Yeah, but nobody's gonna steal that, then, are they?
Yeah, because I don't like all like obviously low pro and all those. I don't.
So, yeah, I mean, I think that's a thing. Perhaps in the West, it isn't really a thing here, because people just don't get stuff stolen. But here I walk around with camera bags, proper camera bags, and I'm not worried. Yeah, but when I go to the UK, I ain't doing that. People know what's in a Billingham, or they're like, oh yeah. So you don't want to make yourself a target if you don't have to.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess to wrap up, man, obviously like crazy times, like business is nuts for anybody just trying to stay afloat. But like any kind of goals for yourself or the stuff you guys are working on over there right now?
Yeah, we've got more videos. We're going to improve on those. We're going to keep on building that up.
Comment, subscribe, right? Subscribe. That's what they say.
Like, comment, subscribe, and all of that. Just come and check them out, and if you like them, I'm not saying you have to, but if you like them, come and get involved. Get involved.
Fuck yeah.
And we're going to work on. We've got a couple of new projects we can't really talk about, because we've got
to keep that suspense, man.
Well, it's not just that. I don't want to say anything that we're not sure can actually happen yet.
Got it.
Learn that from the compact camera thing.
I like it, man. I like it.
But we're working on stuff, and we're just keeping on going, and we're doing our best to keep on going. Got some new packaging for the film coming soon, which will look pretty dope. Yeah. That's an exclusive for you. Nobody's heard.
You got some sick T-shirts too. I noticed.
Oh yeah, we've got these dope T-shirts.
Yeah.
Those are looking good. So yeah, things are going well, and I mean, we're going to keep on going. We're not going anywhere, and I'd encourage everybody, just hang in there, do your best, keep on creating, keep on doing cool things to each other, and just be good to each other.
Yep.
Get offline a bit, man. Stay away from the Facebook and stuff, and just be cool with each other.
Go get outside and go take some pictures. And
go take some pictures. Share your work with somebody. Have a chat. Have a conversation.
Yeah.
Have a conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw actually one interview you said, I think it was a video. I don't know if it's still true anymore, but you won't show your own photography online. Yeah. Is that still true?
Yeah, that's still true.
Dude, you got to do it one time, man. People want to see it.
They don't. They think they do.
No way, dude. Oh man,
I've been very adamant about that, because I didn't want to make my photography about JCH.
Yeah.
Because JCH and Bellamy are kind of two separate things, really.
True.
And so I didn't want to sort of garner attention to my photography just because what JCH was, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I felt that would be kind of disingenuous of me to do so.
You're a humble guy, man. I respect it.
So I just tried to step away from that a bit.
Yeah. Because
it opens you up to unnecessary judgment as well. So it's not about being humble so much as like protecting myself too.
Yeah.
And a lot of my work is personal. It's quite personal. And I'm having been very heavily online the last few years.
Yeah.
And seen how it can affect people and how people can react to things, I felt it really important to protect my family.
Yeah.
Because I'm very wary of that. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not saying never.
All right.
Just
nah, man. I respect it. I respect it, man. Like you created a community. You're a part of the community at JCH, obviously, and it's all these other photographers around the world, and like that's enough. Like it's you don't have to put your own stuff. You're already putting out enough content already, so it's good. Right. Yeah, man. Well, yo, Bellamy, man, I'm glad we got to connect. Big fan of everything you got going on over there. But I guess if people are listening, if they want to reach out, where's the best place for them to go, I guess?
Yeah, so come and hit the website, which is japancamera.com.
Yeah.
But you've also you can hit me up through Instagram, Japan Camera Hunter, and YouTube, Japan Camera Hunter. I'm pretty easy to find.
Yeah, he's on all platforms, and he'll be there. I'll link it and everything. But Bellamy, man, thanks so much.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, man, it's my dream. Tokyo, that's my dream, man. One day after this COVID shit's done, I'm gonna get out there, man.
Yeah, you come, you'll be welcome, man.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, Bellamy. All right, man. Well, you have a good rest of your day, man. I thank you a lot.
And you take care. Thank you.
Peace.
So there you have it. That was the Bellamy Hunt interview, aka Japan Camera Hunter. Just want to thank Bellamy so much for taking the time to come on the podcast. Like I said, I've been a big fan of his work and everything he's just kind of been creating over at Japan Camera Hunter. Just some really amazing videos, and his blog at japancamera.hunter.com. Just the amount of history and knowledge he has for film photography and photography in general is second to none. So definitely go check out Bellamy's website at japancamera.hunter.com, as well as his Instagram at japancamera.hunter. Lots of cool stuff up there. And as always, I'll be having weekly podcasts on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, as well as the Photo Banter YouTube channel. So definitely go check that out. And as always, thanks so much for listening, and take care.